The Oklahoma City Thunder keep their dreams and hopes of an NBA championship alive with a big bounce back win on the road in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. This was probably my favorite game of the series personally. And to be honest, this was a very, very tough loss for the Pacers. You're at home. You have all of the momentum in the series on your side. You have hella momentum in this game, playing some really good basketball to start the game off. You had the Thunder looking real flustered, looking irregular once again. And you're about a quarter away. In the third quarter, they got up to a 10-point lead. I think it was 86-76. Obi Toppin is hooping. The bench is going wild. All of these winning plays is just going your way. We're at halftime, and Shai Alexander has no free throw attempts. Just a lot of irregular things was going on in this basketball game. At one point, for a lot of this game, the Oklahoma City Thunder only had one 3-point shot made. I think it was more than halfway into the third quarter. They were 1 of 12 from 3. So a lot of the things that you would want as a coach, as a team at home was going your way. And in that fourth quarter, Shai Alexander stepped up and played like an MVP player. And the Oklahoma City Thunder ultimately made more winning plays in that second half. And the defense really locked in. But I was worried for the Thunder and throughout the course of some of this game. The number one thing that I will address and speak on for the Thunder, even though they won, it's 2-2. They've been able to take some of this momentum back. You're now headed home with a clean slate. All you have to do from the rest of this series is protect home floor, and you'll find yourselves as the NBA champions. They have to figure out a way, and this will be a point of emphasis for them even after this series, no matter what the result is. But they have to find a way to be able to create some offense that is more in depth than just like hero ball or your world, your turn, my turn type of mentality. And I think it showed a lot in this particular series. Obviously, Shai Alexander is a walking 35-point machine. He's the NBA. He's one of the top scorers. You have no problem with putting the ball in his hands and allowing him to go to work and do what he does. He's been able to do it all season long, all playoffs long. And again, he delivered today in the NBA Finals. But there's certain stretches for this team, and it's not just been in this game. It was in the previous game. May have been some stretches in that game one loss. We saw some of it in the Nuggets series. We saw it in the one game that they really lost ugly to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But it's like there's no cohesion. There's nothing outside of like Shai and J-Dub kind of getting their stuff off. If those two guys ain't really popping off, or if you have these instances where Shai has to go to the bench like he did early in this game, I think this is the first time in the series where he didn't play the entire first quarter. Maybe the first time, I think they said in like 8 or 9 games. And you saw certain instances where there was really no offense. Everybody had the same type of mentality when they got the ball, which was go and try to make something happen. And it gave you some really ugly possessions. There were times where, Cason Wallace is putting his head down, getting to rim, getting you nothing. There was a possession where Cason Wallace took 2 3-point shots that resulted in nothing. Kenrich Williams had like a mid-range shot that he tried to create, resulted in nothing. Aaron Wiggins was trying to force some things, and it was good to try to see him get himself going after that big-time game he had in Game 2. You wanted to see him be able to try to replicate some of that on the road. Ultimately, you got nothing. The game ball, to me, though, goes to Alex Caruso, because Alex Caruso finishes game 7 of 9, and off of the bench, he gave you 20 points. We know what he does defensively. He gave you, 5 steals. He's going to be a havoc in the passing lanes. He's going to apply pressure. And not only is he going to do that on the defensive end, he's just one of those guys that I think we all as a basketball community can agree he makes what I like to call hashtag winning plays. I had the hashtag winning player some years ago. He would be one of those guys that is like a poster child of it. When he's on the basketball court, he makes the right plays on a consistent basis, whether it's defensively, offensively, with the ball, without the ball. He's a communicator. He rebounds. He's stepped up and been a 3-point option for them. He only made 1 tonight, but he, throughout the playoffs, has stepped up as a shooter drastically from what we saw in the regular season. There was plays where he was cutting along that baseline and creating some opportunities there to alleviate some of that pressure off of Shai and to give him an outlet, when he has the ball in that mid post trying to make something happen. There was plays where Alex Caruso created some shots for himself Early in the game, he had like a Euro step finish that he went and created. He had a mid-range shot in the second half that he created off the dribble, really stepping up. And the OKC Thunder needed somebody, and they're going to need others throughout the rest of the series to be able to step up. The 2 games that they have won, I don't think it's a coincidence that they were able to get a big punch off the bench in the scoring department from one of their role players. In game 2, it was the Aaron Wiggins game. Tonight, for me, outside of what Shai was able to do, outside of some of the big time buckets and stretches from J-Dub, you had a really big offensive jump in performance from Alex Caruso, and it paid off hugely for them on the road. Who is that going to be in game 5? I don't know. Maybe it's Aaron Wiggins again. Maybe it's a collection of the team, but you're going to need to find somebody who is able to do something. And the offense has to just look and flow a tad bit more. You really got nothing outside of like, hey, give the ball to J-Dub, give the ball to Shai, see if they can create something. And at this point in the series, it feels like the Pacers have kind of figured that out, and they're willing to allow you to live in some of those areas that you feel like you thrive in. They like allowing J-Dub to go right into the mid-range shot. They're allowing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to do what he does, and they're trying to limit as many of those three-point shots as they can and just make it tough as possible. This was a game early on where they were able to really force turnovers from the Thunder. That was another thing. It felt like when Shai went out of the game, you saw a lot of guys trying to put the ball on the floor, and they were just losing the basketball. It was just pointless, point-blank turnovers that I feel like, again, was an irregular thing from the Oklahoma City Thunder. For the Pacers, again, it's a tough loss because of the production and the performance that you got from Obi Toppin. It is really tough in the NBA playoffs, let alone the NBA Finals, to get this type of production where he went 7 of 12, 2 of 5 from 3. He had the back-to-back threes in the third quarter. It's tough to allow that production to kind of fizzle out into nothing. When you get that much work off the bench from a player, you want to materialize that and take full advantage into a win, right? And overall, as a bench, they gave you 36 points. You outscored OKC's bench, and you feel good about yourself there. This is also another game where you playing against OKC, and they only shot 17% from 3. 3 of 17 from 3. If you go into a game, it feels like you'll be able to kind of work with that. Like, that sounds like a sign of relief. And to not be able to take advantage of that, that reminds me of some of the last games where it's just like you go into the locker room, and if you can't find a way to win these games, you have to ask yourself, how are we going to be able to beat this team 4 times out of 7? You know what I mean? If they can play like this and still find ways to win, it's going to be an uphill battle. It was already an uphill battle coming into the series. Obviously, Oklahoma City Thunder is super talented. They're super, locked in and gritty on the defensive end. But this was not one of their best performances offensively. I was not a fan of watching them on offense. I felt similar to the last game. I didn't like some of the stuff that I seen there, but I think tonight was a little bit even worse. They looked rushed. They, again, forced a lot of stuff. Cason Wallace, 1 of 5. Aaron Wiggins, 0 of 3. Isaiah Joe, one shot he took was like a rush transition 3-point shot on the left wing. I did not like in real time. It wasn't it. Even the lineup change, I kind of predicted on Tee It Up that they may go back to this look to kind of just give themselves something different. And Isaiah Hartenstein, he was cool. He was okay. I think one of the things about Isaiah Hartenstein, and this is just a mental note, this is not to say that this helped them win or lose the game or anything like that. He really falls in love with the elbow pass backdoor. It feels like no matter how open it is or how guarded it is, he's going to try to squeeze that backdoor pass back there. And I realize how much it annoys me that it's almost predictable that he's going to try to get the pass through. And a lot of times I'm watching him and I'm asking myself, why? And it was the same way as when he was with the Knicks. What was that, last year? In the playoffs against the Pacers, against the 76ers. I'm constantly watching him force passes that ultimately, even if you get it through, it won't lead to anything. So why even take that gamble? And again, it's kind of just giving me PTSD, where a few times I watched him trying to just get these passes through, and I'm like, why? On the opposite end, I mean, OKC had a really good first half. It really boiled down to me to the second half, where the Oklahoma City Thunder was able to outscore them by 10. They really got their groove there. They was able to get to the free throw line. They left a lot of money at the free throw line. They being the Indiana Pacers. This first half went almost picture perfect, right? Again, you limit Shai to 0 free throws. Who knows when the last time that happened? I'm sure that stat is on Twitter or was on the broadcast or something, and it might have just went through one ear and out the other for me. But ultimately, the 1 of 10 from 3, you allowed them to not be able to have any production from the 3-point line. You limited them to just basically twos, 8 turnovers. You won, almost won that turnover battle. I didn't realize they gave up 9 of those turnovers right back. But again, a really picture perfect first half, in my opinion. You walk out with a 3-point lead, a lot of momentum. The 3-point shot is falling for them. I felt like they had a lot of opportunity in the paint. 28-22, not that big of a discrepancy like we saw in some of the past other games. And then again, that second half came. OKC started off the third quarter with that zone again. They showed some of it in the second quarter, and then ultimately in that second half, again, 54-44, and they kind of turned the water off. 36% from the field, 23% from 3, and 70% from the free throw line. The Benedict Mathurin free throws at the end kind of pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. They left 6 points in the second half at the free throw line, and I don't have a dog in the fight, but it pissed me off. To see him miss those last 3 out of 4 free throws to end the game. Obi Toppin left 2 at the line, and then you also had a missed free throw from Pascal Siakam. A huge 6 points as we kind of look back on the game and saw how close it was, at the final finish line. OKC, 6 offensive rebounds in the second half. That was a big thing for me as well. Getting those second chance points. The threes weren't falling, but those second chance opportunities really helped out. I really felt like Chet, from the first to the third quarter, was solid. And then I felt like at certain times in that third quarter, I even tweeted like, man, what is Chet doing? And then it felt like he almost was told about the tweet, or he had that same thought to himself, like, what am I doing? And then in that fourth quarter, early on, he got some offensive rebounds and some putbacks that to me was really huge, and it was able to keep them right in the game. And it was kind of going back and forth there. Haliburton not starting the fourth quarter, nothing out of the ordinary. But I do think that was something that the Oklahoma City Thunder took advantage of, and that was another storyline for me. Tyrese Haliburton, 15 shots in this game. He only took, 5 shots in the first half. And again, he is a really talented player. He understands what he's doing. He's an engine of an offense. He is a high IQ guy. So you kind of got to live and trust with his decisions and how he's approaching the game. But again, when he is aggressive offensively, this team looks different. I keep saying it all playoffs. I'm going to keep repeating it. Even in this game where he didn't have a 30-point game or nothing like that, he only took 15 shots, most of it in the second half, 9 shots in the second half. Those points that he was giving them was big. When he was turning the corner and finishing those layups, I tracked almost at a certain point, I think from 10-15 on, I tracked every single bucket that went back and forth in this game. And Haliburton gave them some big layups. I'm talking about turning the corner, finishing over sides and length. He had another turnover that gave them turnover. He gave them another layup that gave them the 103-99 lead. There was some big opportunities for him to score. I think he had 3 layups in the fourth quarter that were big for them. And I think part of a lot of the conversation when we talk about Haliburton is just that. I felt like there were certain stretches where I kind of wanted to see more of that. Kind of wanted to see him just be aggressive. Good things happen. It isn't like this was a game where he was aggressive and he was coming up empty. Even a long-ass 3-point shot that he hit in the first quarter, I was like, uh-oh. Tyrese Haliburton hitting that. You see how the crowd reacted, and it just feels like the entire team is uplifted when he plays like that. And, yeah, man, it was a little disappointing not seeing him come out the gate and swing a little bit more. And I felt like, again, we saw a similar thing to this in some of the earlier games or a couple of the games that they lost, where it's almost like you wait a little bit too late, right? 0-4 from 3 in the second half. As a team, they just weren't able to get anything to fall. 4 of 17. It's just not Pacers basketball. The 6 turnovers kind of sucked as well. And then you talk about the points in the paint in the second half. The Thunder outscored them with the points in the paint 22-14. The second chance points 13-4, and then fast break points 4-2. So didn't really find anything to give you an advantage in the second half. It's tough half for Pascal Siakam after how he started the game. 1 of 6, 0 of 4 from Neesmith. Again, OKC really turned the water off of them. The only guys that were able to get stuff going, Obi Toppin shot 4 or 5, 10 points in the second half. You go 4-9 for Tyrese Haliburton with another 10 points. And then Neesmith shot 50% from the field and gave you an additional 7 points. But outside of that, I mean, look at the rest of the starting lineup. 0 of 4 from Neesmith. And 1 of 6 for Pascal Siakam gives you a 1 of 10 shooting from those two. And then to add to it, you get a 1 of 4 performance from Myles Turner that ultimately gives you 2 of 14 shooting from 3 of your starters. Not going to be able to win like that. I was not a fan at all of Myles Turner's performance. I think he has to step up. He has to step up. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. He has to step up. He has to get to the rebound. Get to the glass. He gave you zero rebounds in the second half for Myles Turner. 0. So when you're seeing the Oklahoma City Thunder get 6 offensive rebounds, when you're seeing them control the glass as much as they did in the second half, that's why. They out-rebounded them by 11. 23 rebounds to 12. 6 offensive rebounds to 1. 17 defensive rebounds to 11. Myles Turner has to be a lot more prominent on that glass, especially if you're not giving them anything else from the perimeter. 0 of 3 from 3 in the second half, and overall in this game, Myles Turner shot a 0 of 6 from 3. Just not going to be able to cut it. It's going to be interesting seeing the way that this series goes the rest of the way. I feel like every time you kind of end up in this position for the Pacers, you feel like, here it is. This is when Oklahoma City Thunder is going to take off. But I'm not necessarily folding for that anymore. I feel like the Pacers have earned enough respect from us to feel like this is still a series. It's 2-2. All the Thunder did was tie the series. It ain't like they went up 3-1 or anything like that. It ain't like the Pacers haven't shown that they can win on the road against this team. And hell, by everything I've seen from the last 2 games, the Pacers have shown that they can not only beat them, they can really hang with them. They can control a game. Tonight, this was more of what the Pacers look like. The Pacers looked like a better team for majority of this game. And then down the stretch, Oklahoma City Thunder did what they do, which is lock up, and they put the ball in their best players' hands, and they were able to make enough plays down the stretch. But this was a game that a play goes this way or that way, and we're talking about the Pacers having a 3-1, series lead in the NBA Finals and 1 game away from winning it all, which is, again, unfortunate. This is why this loss sucks, because I feel like a lot of Pacer fans was ready to taste the champagne. You're ready to go up 3-1, and you're thinking about how often teams are able to close out when they have a 3-1 lead. And the Oklahoma City, this is the win that every championship team has to have on their run. That ugly win that you almost feel like you don't know how the hell you came up with this win. It almost at certain points feel like you didn't deserve the win because you damn sure didn't play your best basketball. But the great teams find a way. When a shot percentages look ugly, when you're not getting the proper production, when the other team is making more threes, when the other team has you playing irregular, when your best player who normally gets to the free throw line X amount of times ain't look at the free throw line all half, you still found a way to get a dub. And that's what championship teams do. But again, not ruling out the Pacers. If it's one thing that I've learned in these first 4 games that I hope OKC has learned, they're going to have to win it. They are going to have to win it. This is not going to be one of those series where the Pacers are going to be intimidated or roll over for the Oklahoma City Thunder to win, and they're not just happy to be here. They are like sharks in the water. They smell blood, they taste blood, and they've figured out some things to bother OKC and to allow OKC to not look like that 70-win team that we saw all season. So I'm interested to see what the next change-up is going to be, what the next adjustment is going to be. Do Oklahoma City run this double big lineup? There were so many times where you see the pace and the spacing and the movement from the Pacers really give fits to this Oklahoma City Thunder big lineup, right? Where Isaiah Hartenstein is trying to cover so much ground, and it's only so much you can do. So you're getting a corner three here, you're getting a corner three there, you're getting an open look here. And, I know that was something that early on the Pacers were able to capitalize off of. Obi Toppin, like, is there an argument that Obi Toppin should have maybe played a little bit more down the stretch? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. Both teams have adjustments to make. Both teams still have a chance. But ultimately, this was a really, 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 really big win for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It just sucks, again, to look at the box score. And even without the box score, if you watch the game, to see all of the plays Obi Toppin was making. He had a block. He had a dunk from the baseline. He had the 2 back-to-back threes. The crowd was going so wild. He had the breakaway dunk. Everything was kind of going the Pacers' way. And, like, we were texting in the group chat, like, man, this is crazy. Like, the Pacers may really be the champions. Like, at one point, I text, like, I still don't know if I fathom the fact that the Pacers might be the champions of the league. Like, I was not prepared for that. That's how much control they had in this game. It was the level where D Mills texted one of the homies in the group chat, Mason, who's a Pacer fan, and said, hey, you're going to go to the parade? You're going to go to the parade? Because it was that much of control. And obviously we know, working in the NBA, a 10-point lead ain't really nothing, especially against a team like the Thunder, right? It was, 10-15 left on the clock when they had the 7-point lead. More than enough time. 7-point leads aren't safe with 3 minutes, let alone 10 minutes. So, again, nobody felt like Oklahoma City Thunder was completely written off. It's just funny to see a game like this have so much control go one way, and then before you know it, you blink, and you're talking about the result going another way. One thing that's going to eat them alive is the free throws. 25 of 33 at the free throw line, and then ultimately lose by 7 points. It ain't it, man. It ain't it. I feel real bad for the fans. They should be encouraged because, again, Rick Carlisle, in my opinion, has coached his ass off. But this definitely is one where it feels like you were about a few minutes away from potentially going up 3-1 in the NBA Finals. As always, I appreciate y'all tuning in for these NBA Final recaps. It's Game 4. We have officially 2 or 3 more games left before we are officially wrapped up with the 2025 NBA season. As always, I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all soon for Game 5. Let me know everything that y'all saw, everything y'all feel, and things that are on y'all mind for what Game 5 will look like. I'll see y'all then. I'm out. Peace.